in your, yeah, there you go.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you all today as we continue to explore the 12 powers and this yearly journey that we've been on. This morning, we're talking about the power of zeal, one of my favorites. And let me begin by saying something that has always fascinated me is the story of Ponce de Leon and his search the world over for the magical fountain of youth. And our culture has never lost the desire to find it. Have you noticed? Problem is, we typically never look in the only place that we could ever hope to find it, which is within ourselves. And we're talking about the fountain of joyful, enthusiastic vitality that eternally flows inside of each one of us. It's our power of zeal. The Italian actress Sophia Loren discovered it. She said this: there's a fountain of youth. It's your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life and the lives of the people that you love. And when you learn to tap this source, she says, you will have truly defeated age. So my talk title is Zest for Life. And that zest comes from within us. It's our unlimited vitality and energy. It's the power that moves us forward in life, the fuel that promotes our growth, our becoming more. This inner zeal, it's constant. That's another thing. It's lasting because it flows from a source that is inexhaustible. Zeal has been described as enthusiastic diligence, and I love that. I love having enthusiastic diligence. Can you feel the power of that? How it can help to create something greater and new in your life. And of course, the word enthusiasm itself actually means God within. And this power of zeal truly is our fountain of youth. Unity's co-founder, Charles Fillmore, used to say well into his 90s that he fairly sizzled with zeal. Sizzle with zeal, energy, enthusiasm, eager to do that, which ought to be done by me today. He was in his 90s when he came up with that one. And he calls zeal the inward fire of the soul. So can you feel that being sort of kindled, rekindled in your life? And how do we do that? We need to take time every day to connect with that inward fire. Goethe suggested a person should hear a little music, read a little poetry, see a fine picture every day, in order that worldly cares do not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which God has implanted in the human soul. So do we need to learn how to actually enjoy our lives, to find the things that inspire us, to experience the real joy that is eternally within us, that can help us to seize the day and make of it what we will? Because it's our natural state to be joyful. Our natural state. Joy is the unmistakable sign of the presence of God. In the Hebrew scriptures, the book of Isaiah, we read, "For you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace." Now, these writings came at a time when the Israelites had been exiled. They were enslaved in Babylon for decades. They were in the midst of great suffering, hopelessness, in fact. And Isaiah brings a voice of comfort and hope and a reminder to them of the true reality of life. The second line of that scripture says, "The mountain and the hills shall break forth before you into singing. All the trees of the field shall clap their hands." When we awaken to the vitality and the joy within us, the whole world rejoices with us. The trees start clapping. So life can be a playground for us, or it can be a prison for us. And we get to choose. We get to choose the bars, window bars or monkey bars. And no matter what the outer situation may be, we get to choose, because it's an inner state that we want to connect with. Some of the Apostle Paul's most beautiful writings were done when he was in prison. And when we look at the dramatic story of Paul's experience in Damascus, we can see a real illustration of zeal. Here's a man whose greatest delight was to zealously persecute Christians, and he became their greatest leader because he woke up to the power of love. And that's something we really need to keep in mind. Zeal needs to be tempered with love and wisdom. And when we look at what's happening right now in the Middle East, we see what can happen when their zeal is happening and it's not tempered with love and wisdom. So what we're talking about here is not just enthusiasm. We can have enthusiasm for all kinds of stuff that is harmful. We're talking about joyful energy. That's the distinction I'm making. It's a joyfulness that we want to share with the world. But I have a confession to make here and now. Are you ready? Here's my confession. I don't always feel joyful. There, I've said it. It's out there. I'm not forever filled with endless vitality. I'm not always enthused about life or permanently seizing the day every morning. That just doesn't happen for me. Sometimes I catch myself sleepwalking through life. But what I've found, this is the interesting thing, is that even in those moments of being asleep to my own aliveness, they can become awakening moments for me. You see, when I realize what I'm doing, when I see I'm sleepwalking, they can be awakening moments. And so let me share one of those moments with you. Every summer it's my joy to visit with my son and my daughter and their families for about 3 weeks, all told, between the two families, about 10 days in each place. And after spending this rich, wonderful, energized, beautiful time with those grandkids, now I pay the piper. Now I have to go through the grueling part, which is traveling back to Spokane. So I'm almost going coast to coast sometimes, depending on who I visit first. But believe me, no matter where I leave from Ottawa or Halifax, it's rarely fun. It takes at least 2 and usually more, like 3 and even 4 different flights, up to 18 hours of travel. And it's worth it because I want to see my grandkids. So I just kind of bite the bullet. But the endless waiting in airports can really get to me after a while. So I always bring along a lot of reading material, lots of work to do on my computer to keep me busy. But after a while, my zeal starts sinking into mush. I can just feel it happening. It's like, oh, how much longer? And that was especially true last summer because, as luck would have it, all 3 of my flights were significantly delayed. Not just a little time. All of them were hours delay. And during the longest delay of all, I was about 2 hours into a now 7-hour layover. How much zest for life do you think I felt in that airport? It was below zero, I'll tell you right now. And I looked around me and I couldn't see any zeal anywhere. I couldn't see any spark of vitality. I just saw a whole airport filled with fellow sleepwalkers. There was no spark visible, just boredom, hypnotized by the screens on our laptops and our phones. We were like zombies. I looked around and wow, they could make a movie here about zombies. So I realized how much we were all missing the fullness, the possibilities in the moment. Now, of course, we were all exhausted from traveling, but I became aware in that moment of how I had been letting precious moments of my life pass me by as I failed to remain present and experiencing my own aliveness in that moment. And that moment, it literally woke me up. And I decided right then and there, no matter how long I had to stay there, I was going to stay present and focused and alive. I was going to feel my aliveness. And so I put away my computer, put away my phone, and I focused on that. I focused on really moving my awareness deep within the body and really feeling my body, settling into my aliveness, becoming very present, connected to my heart, and just feeling the vitality within me, feeling the blood moving through my body. And guess what happened? Something I wasn't expected. I noticed that the more I stayed present and focused on the vitalizing energy within me, I started noticing exuberance around me, signs of life, pockets of people having fun, smiling, talking, showing some vital signs. We had a pulse here, and I realized that it was simply my change in perspective from being in my head and just downward energy of, oh God, listening to my voice just how much longer, to know I want to feel the moment. I'm going to be here now. And focusing on my own joyful energy, it made other joyful energy more visible to me. So just consider for one moment that enlightenment is simply a shift in perception. Imagine that within you already is the power, the beauty, the joy, the majesty of spirit. And within you, within me, there's a place of ever-present renewal that we can always connect to. It's exciting, it's dynamic, it's never ending. Breathe that in. That life-giving energy is there for all of us, every moment of every day. And when we raise our vibration, which is what I did in that airport, and focus on that joyful energy, it transforms our experience of life. Literally transforms how we're experiencing the world in that moment. And it's always with us. The Bhagavad Gita says, whatever is has always been, and what is not shall never come into existence. It's an interesting thing to ponder. Whatever is has always been. The zeal, the vitality, the life force that is within you has always existed. It's since time immemorial. It's always existed. It always will exist. It's endless. It's expanding, joyful energy. Never goes away. I mean, the cells in our bodies are constantly renewed. Deepak Chopra in his teachings, he tells us, look at your hand right now. You'll see a totally new one that was not there 7 years ago. Every cell has been replaced. So our bodies are actually rivers of intelligence. Just see if you can feel what that feels like. Rivers of intelligence, energy, information, constantly renewing, totally replenished and new. And this is exciting to me, to know that the vitalizing, healing energy of spirit is constantly replenishing my body, and that I can co-create a healthier, more youthful body by consciously shifting my perspective and focusing on the inner life force that will allow that to happen. So what does it mean to have a zest for life, to be truly alive? Well, guess what? Every day becomes an adventure. Every day we start the day. What's my adventure going to be today? Rather than a burden or something I have to get through or drudgery. See, as we become aware of the spirit within us, that's what happens. We can't help but have a greater enthusiasm for life when we're expanding our spiritual awareness. So it's about being present to every moment instead of being bored by life. Sizzling with zeal, not fizzling with boredom. We want to sizzle, not fizzle. So awakening means really seeing this truth, really living this truth, not just seeing it, but experiencing it in the now moment. You know, in the Buddhist tradition, they pose this question. If you saw someone sleeping, that person obviously in the middle of a nightmare, being chased, and you could tell they were agitated, they were becoming, what would you do? Would you lie down beside them, fall asleep so you could enter their dream and help them to escape? Or would you just gently awaken them so they would know that what they were believing was an illusion? Well, that's the awakening power that zeal has, alerting us to the power within, fully present to the experience of the joy that is our true nature. And we align with that nature as we activate and sustain elevating emotions of joy and enthusiasm. Do you see this? We align with our true nature when we're being joy and zeal and vitality and enthusiasm in action. For being who we've come here to be. The Indian spiritual teacher Paramahansa Yogananda said this: beginning with the early dawn each day, I will radiate joy to everyone I meet. I will be mental sunshine for all who cross my path. I will burn candles of smiles in the bosoms of the joyless. Before the unfading light of my cheer, darkness will take flight. Now that's a purpose I can get behind. Imagine that being our affirmation every morning. Seriously, darkness will flee from this. You know, it takes an entire year to make one revolution around the sun. And it's been said that we're lucky if we get 90 of those revolutions during our lifetime, 90 spins around the sun. Our time here is limited. And so we want to seize the day, the time that we do have, and stay present moment by moment by moment. And that way we tap into source and we actually unwrap the present. We unwrap the gift of the present as we feel fully alive. We aren't meant to be sleepwalkers. That's not our purpose here. We're meant to be skywalkers, exploring inner galaxies, experiencing the adventure contained in each moment of our day, allowing the life force to be made manifest through and as us as we share our joy. And that's the work right there. There was once a grandmother named Ada who'd been married for 50 plus years to a very loving, compassionate man. And this kindly man died suddenly. And Ada went into a deep depression, constantly wondering why she'd been abandoned by the man she loved so deeply, why she'd been left behind to grieve. And her granddaughter visited her regularly in the nursing home where she lived and became increasingly concerned about her grandmother's state of mind. Ada was falling deeper, deeper, and deeper into the depths of despair and despondency. And one day, the girl came to visit and found her grandmother sitting up straight in bed with a grin from ear to ear. She had the brightest countenance the girl had seen since her grandfather had died. And Ada was so excited, she could hardly wait to tell her what had happened. And she said, last night I had a dream and your grandfather spoke to me. And I asked him why he had left me behind. And he said, I learned the lesson of unconditional love while I was on the earth. And so it was my time to move on to other things. And then he told her, you've been given extra time to learn it too. Don't waste the time you have left. And then he was gone. And Ada fairly shone with excitement. She lost no time following the advice she'd received in her dream. She took every opportunity she could from that day on to share her joy, to bless everyone she met, to become a beacon of unconditional love for all. And she became one of the most inspiring people living in the nursing home. The nurses adored her. And the change in her was remarkable. And she passed peacefully after a very happy and satisfying end to her physical life. So do you see that every single moment we have here on this planet is another precious opportunity to express the gift that we are? We don't want to waste the time we have here. This is a well-known piece that has inspired many people to live more enthusiastically. You may have read it or heard it in the past, but I think it bears repeating. It's attributed to a woman in her 80s named Nadine Stair, and she wrote this: if I had my life to live over, I'd try to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax, I would limber up, I'd be sillier than I have been this trip. I know of very few things I would take so seriously. I would be crazier. I'd be less nervous. I'd take more chances. I'd take more trips. I would climb more mountains, swim more rivers, watch more sunsets. I'd eat more ice cream and fewer beans. I would have more actual troubles, fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who have lived their lives sensibly and sanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to do nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those people who never go anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a gargle, a raincoat, and a parachute. And if I had it to do over, I'd start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way until late in the fall. I'd play more hooky. I wouldn't get such good grades except by accident. I'd ride more merry-go-rounds, and I'd pick more daisies. And so I invite all of us to awaken to the delight of life. Make a list of all the things that make you feel alive and inspired, renewed, refreshed. But more importantly, look at how much time you actually spend doing those things that you love. My list would include walking on the beach, hiking in the woods, spending time in nature. Music feeds my soul, surrounding myself with things of beauty, flowers, angels, children's art, and being with my loved ones. So we need to take time to do all those things that we love in our lives, things that bring us joy. So here are some important questions to ponder about zeal. What makes you feel alive and inspired? What fills your heart? What fills your beingness with inspiration? When do you feel your aliveness the most? And are you fairly sizzling with zeal or fizzling with boredom? If so, what are some activities you can add to your life that can change that fizzle to sizzle? Can you inject a walk in nature as a break from too much hypnotic screen time? How about a video chat with a loved one? You know, what is it for you? And what inspirational literature or beautiful works of art, what uplifting music can you bring into your day to awaken your power of zeal? What can give you a vibrational tune-up? We want to do more of those things. 90 revolutions around the sun. Let's make every single one count. And so it is. So I'm going to invite us all to become very present as we take a moment to sink our awareness deep within the body. So if you're in a place where you can put your feet flat on the floor, go ahead and do so. If not, just move your attention to the soles of your feet and notice how they feel. Is there a tingling? Are they warm? Are they cold? What do you notice? Can you feel a sense of being planted, rooted, connected? Now move your attention upward through the legs, noticing any places of tension throughout the body. As we continue to scan upwards through the torso of the body. And if you find a place of tension, maybe around the shoulders or the neck, relax it. If you have trouble, tense it up, then let it go. Notice your hands, how they feel. Are they tingling? Are they warm? Are they cold? See if you can put your attention right between the fingers, between the first and second fingers. We're increasing our awareness of what is going on within the body. And so we continue moving upward through the body, through the shoulders, to the face. Notice any tension around the eyes, the jaw, tongue. The scalp. Be here now. And our head and our feet are in the same place. We can actually experience the present moment. So let's begin to focus on the breath and let that anchor us in this moment. Just follow it gently. Don't have to change it, control it. Just see it, observe. And with each breath, relax a little more as we open our hearts to the joy within us. It's our natural state. So we bring into our awareness someone that we deeply love. Someone that when we think of this person, our heart begins to warm in gratitude that they are in our life. Feel that warmth as it activates a feeling of gratitude and love. And let that feeling expand as it goes beyond the heart and moves throughout the body. As we remember that every cell is being replenished here and now, we bathe each one in this healing vibration of appreciation, gratitude, love. Just notice your aliveness coursing through your body. You are spirit in expression. The same life force that moves through you moves through all in the universe. We're part of the oneness. It is our essence, our essential nature. And we have a birthright to be joyful, to be enthusiastic about life, to share the joy that we are, to bring that vibrational healing energy into our world, whatever our world is, perhaps our families, where we work, our communities, beyond. We take another breath and we let these feelings of joyful gratitude radiate beyond the body, creating an energetic field that is coherent and harmonious. Every one of us is here to be the expression of the one. Here to make the world a better place, to make the difference. And we have no time to waste. So for this truth, for the opportunity to be spirit in action, to be the avenue through which unconditional love and joy can be expressed in our world, we give grateful thanks. And so it is. Amen.